Oh, hi. Um, Last video I was talking about why I got into the study of evolution and why I spent um, a good solid 3 years studying it, really wanting to come to terms with it. It was mainly because of my evangelistic efforts, and when I used to evangelize, I'd find people would give the argument, I believe in science and evolution, not the Bible. So I was a new Christian and I wanted to know the truth above all. And I really wanted to. There were a lot of theories about the Bible, the book of Genesis, especially the first few chapters, um, whether they were literal or not. And I had looked into them and I wanted to know, well, honestly, are they true or not? So I did a study for a few years. I ended up becoming quite knowledgeable in my where I lived around the town and the city where I was on this topic, and became a guest speaker at schools. We've been invited to talk at schools on the subject of dinosaurs because I became quite knowledgeable, and got invited to high schools to talk on the subject of creation and evolution, to debate against science teachers in the schools and stuff. Okay, and it was interesting times. I also had this was going back a while. um, Also had a um, it's like a chatting blog, or I guess you could call it a blog. Um, it was like a debating room, where I would put forward my debate, evolution, and I'd have people coming back with their arguments and their fors and against. And yeah, so I had a lot of experience, I guess, with talking to people and with people who don't believe the Bible or creation, and would hear a lot of their rebuttals, and I got quite good at knowing what they were going to say and how to argue with them. But that's not why I'm doing this series. I wanted to do an honest talk with people who were actually genuinely wanting to know the truth, not people who are adamantly opposed to the idea of a God, because the truth is you can never persuade someone um, to lose their argument that they want to believe in. If someone wants to believe in evolution, um, then they don't want to change their belief system. No amount of evidence in the world is going to make them change their belief system. They will just hold on to it like a dead horse, basically. Um, we will not let go of our belief, no matter what you do. And evolution, it really is a belief. It really is a religious belief. Um, it is a belief. I believe it's amazingly religious in nature, and it's a belief system, and it should not be compared or even equated with science. Calling evolution science or calling evolution fact, it just really shows that you do not understand the actual theory of evolution and really what evolution actually really says and means. Um, it shows you ignorance a little bit because, um, quite frankly, it, there's after honest study of it, because I had flatmates who were engineers, and I had flatmates who were anthropologists, and they were studying it as studying the theory, and had to write theses on it to pass their papers. They a lot of them believed in evolution, so there was a lot of debating from me trying to study and learn about it, and debating with why and why not, and with just my flatmates alone. When I went to church, there was a lot of mixed people in church who actually believed it as well, a lot of people who didn't. Um, I didn't really find too many people who were that skilled who believed creation or believed the Bible and said we don't believe evolution. I didn't actually find too many people who were that skilled in defending creation and could argue evolution. They hadn't really, I guess, weren't that many people. So I could find. So that was my endeavour to really find out, and I wanted to find out the truth. And my flatmates actually really wanted to find out the truth as well. I mean, they believed at the point, they believed their professors at their college, and fair enough. If no one else was giving them anything else, why shouldn't they? So, yep, so many years of debating and arguing and studying. Now, we all came to the same conclusion in the end. This is the thing. My flatmates did as well, because of my enthusiastic approach to studying it and really wanting to know it. My flatmates studied it and wanted to know it as well, and we all came to the same conclusion. Okay, now these guys are honorary, have got honors and things like that, and they're not stupid. My friends weren't stupid. Um, some of them have gone on to get PhDs. They're not idiots at all, and we're in, I'm not going to say which universities, but very prestigious universities. So they've got great jobs now and earn lots of money. Okay, so these my friends came to the same conclusion, and it really was not actually as difficult to come to that conclusion as you would think. For this amazing worldview, these two worldviews in conflict, a creator or random chance, you know, massive worldviews, huge ramifications from either one. And scientists, lots of scientists believing in non-design, that non-intelligence could create intelligence. Lots of people going the evolutionary belief system, following it, and just thinking, wow, it must be incredibly hard to work out which one is true. And as I've said on the last video, every area of evolution I studied and went into and analyzed, it failed. It did not stack up. Okay, so I thought I would talk about some of the fails, and also some of the reasons why I don't think it could ever stack up. Let's face it, if something is true, the evidence, the more and more you research it, the more in depth you go, it should make more sense and be more compelling. Now, if something isn't true, the more and more evidence and the more and more you get into, it should not line up, and it should actually fall apart under analysis. And out of both intelligence design or creationism, when analyzed in depth, I found it actually solid, and lots of arguments seemed to stack up. I couldn't see any flaws, and I couldn't find any of the famous evolutionists like Richard Dawkins or any of the other ones who purportedly say evolution is a fact, okay, and God is just a delusion. I couldn't find like any of them so-called experts in the evolutionary field that they couldn't destroy any of these arguments. Okay, so they're supposed to believe evolution and not creation, but they can't come up with arguments against some of the creationist arguments. Whereas always I could find a reason why the evolution arguments didn't stack up. Okay, so if I was giving points out, I would have to say creation was winning in its arguments. Now, it seems now that creation, evolutionists do not want to argue evidence anymore. It seems they do not want to do that because I think, and maybe they know they're losing. Maybe they know they can't prove their theory, and deep down there could be a fear that they know they're wrong. I don't know. I really don't know. But it seems to be a blackout on a debate happening against evolution and creation. It seems to be there's a blackout on it. Universities are too fearful to investigate or study or put any funding or money. Scientists are not being encouraged to actually analyze it or look at other theories. It's like we're going to put the blinders on, and we're not going to try and deviate from the course, hell or high water, about our theory. And the theory just does not work. Okay, so it is really shocking. I don't know. I would be a little bit ashamed if I was a evolutionist teaching at a university and teaching up and coming generations of students the theory of evolution. I would be ashamed and embarrassed because they should be analysing the thing they're teaching. They should be at least going in depth and trying to find out, what am I teaching? What am I teaching? Is it really true? I know they are not doing that. I know categorically. When I was in a different country, and I was watching TV one day, and it must have been a Christian program came on, and it was an interview with a scientist who had written a textbook, evolution textbook, had been a teacher of evolution for 40 years, so was very well indoctrinated into it and believed it and passionately taught it. Had wrote a book, or co-authored, I'm not sure exactly, because it was only a program I'd watched, a book on evolution, chemical evolution, I think it was the name of the book. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, this guy was on this TV program being interviewed, and he had written this book, Chemical Evolution, or some book title similar to that. And that book was one of the major books and theories that had been promoted around the evolutionist world, and he was the top in his field of study in that area. He was talking about why he became a Christian. He had totally gone away from his belief in chemical evolution and had become a Christian as a result. And he was talking about it and said a student had raised a question with him, and the question plagued him so much because he would go home and he would try to sleep at nights, but the question kept rattling in his brain, and he said he couldn't answer it. And in the end, after trying to think about how it could work, he came to the conclusion his whole theory was wrong because one student raised a question, and he ended up becoming a Christian because he said he couldn't see any alternatives to evolution. That if evolution wasn't true, then the Christian Bible has to be the truth. And he became a Christian, and now he's a strong supporter of creation and speaks out on that. But he was very frustrated that once he became threw out his idea and wrote why, that his book on chemical evolution was still being used. and they would not get rid of it out of high schools, and he said, and out of colleges, and he said it was very frustrating, him being the author, knowing his theory wasn't true and his book wasn't right anymore, but it's still being taught to generations of kids. And see, that's the sad fact about it. When analysed and broken down, it falls apart. But then the scientific community are very slow to act, and they don't want to give up their theory. And I believe you can't convince an evolutionist, a person who does not want to know the truth, but is very comfortable using evolution as an argument. I've had friends, I had a friend, it took me months to convince, months. Every night I'd go around and talk to him, and we would have these discussions with him and his mates and his wife. Literally months of hours and hours every night for months and months before I got through all of his arguments in evolution. It took me so long to unravel and debate every argument he brought up, and he was right into evolution. But eventually I got through them, and voila, he had none left. And he said, I would really like to believe the Bible, I just can't. And it dawned on me right then, and I realized, oh, he wanted to believe evolution so badly because he didn't want to believe the Bible. It wasn't about evolution being true or false at all. I was debating it with him because he wanted to believe it. He wanted it so bad to hold on to it. Because he didn't want to believe in God. And so that's what I realized. You can't convert a person who wants to believe in something. They'll go to irrational lengths to hold on to their belief system. Even if it doesn't stack up or it doesn't make sense, they will hold on to it no matter what. So in the case of my my friend, actually it was my cousin, this was the case. I realized, it was actually a spiritual problem at that point, and so I stopped debating with him about evolution, because I realized that it's a waste of time. Couldn't convert him if I there's just no way it was going to convert him. I realized it was a heart condition. His heart, like the Bible said, had been blinded by the devil, and he didn't want to know, didn't want to see. And so I started just praying for him. That was all I did. I told God, yeah, I understand. I can't convert this guy through intelligence, through argument. And I prayed for him. After just one night of praying for this, for him, the very next time I saw him, he told me he wanted to become a Christian, and his heart condition had changed. And that was a very eye-opening for me. That was eye-opening, because I know God was teaching me something about the human heart, about the condition of why people use evolution, etc. So, I know the world is full of pet scientists who do. It's not that they believe evolution, but I believe they want to believe evolution. Okay, that's why my analysis, that they want to believe it, so they ignore any real reason why it's not true, and they aren't actually overly interested in finding out if it is, because that would shatter their worldview. That would make them have to consider a creator, and for various reasons, people don't want to believe in a creator. There's lots and lots of reasons. I had one girl who said, I couldn't believe in the Bible because if there's hell, then that means my mother has gone there, and I don't want to be a Christian if my mother's gone there. I want to be with my mother when I die. So there are amazing reasons why people don't want to be Christians or believe the Bible. And that's usually what we're dealing with. Usually what I found when I'm witnessing people is it's not an argument we're dealing with, it's actually a belief that we're dealing with. And the belief is what they want to believe. And they'll put forward an argument as a shield that you have to try and get past. And often they do not care how many times you attack the shield and whatever. It's just a big smoke screen, because that's not the honest, that's not really what's going on in their heart. So that's my Christian perspective as well, of why it's happening. Otherwise, it's very irrational that these intelligent scientists and all these people around the world cannot come to the conclusion I came to with only a few years of study. And it wasn't that difficult to weigh up the evidence. Okay, my next video is going to be on some of the things that seem to, I hope, really should challenge your worldview if you're an evolutionist, and make you honestly consider, is this just a big fabrication? Okay.